Hello, everyone. Hi, Melissa. So this is James over at Finer Works, and Melissa and I, as many of y'all might be aware, we host the first Tuesday. But a lot of times we have information that we'd like to uh, give to people that doesn't take an hour and a half or may only take a few minutes. And so we're going to try to come up with a series of quick tips, in the coming weeks. And this is kind of our first one. And basically it's going to center around certain FAQs that we get, examples, and how-tos, as an example, how to get, a print to look a certain way, or how to crop a print in Photoshop, things that are just going to help get the appearance and quality that you're after. And so today's first tip is going to deal with what we call decal mode printing, and decal style prints. We have a product that we just launched. Melissa, can you show that
Yeah,
on again?
I want to show that really quick on here. So this is our new product.
Yeah, so this is the acrylic plaques, and they look beautiful. I mean, generally, it's just the image printed directly onto the reverse side of a panel or a pane of acrylic glass, and put in a really nice wood finished stand and set it on any tabletop, desk, shelf, what have you. And the largest on this right now is 12 by 12. So again, it's made, just to be there, self-standing and not to hang on the wall. But one of the cool things about printing on acrylic glass and the type of printer that we use is that it has the ability to print white ink. And so what we do is, so that the image is not translucent, we actually, in other words, only partially opaque, or we add a layer, we print a layer of white on the back. Now, some people have asked, when we first started discussing this, so how do we isolate where the white is printed? In other words, can we say I want some of the artwork to be, totally transparent, translucent, and some of it to be, have that white layer, and that's real important, especially with this type of product and some other products that we're looking at offering, such as stickers on transparent media. So in other words, the sticker itself is clear, but then you have areas that are kind of have color, and then areas that are transparent. So call that decal mode printing, or at least that's the term that I'm using. I think that best describes it. But going back to the acrylic print options, a good example with the acrylic plaques, and I'm going to go ahead and show you on my screen here. As you can see, this is one of those Spotify song plaques, and if you look, let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up. I'll put my glasses on so I can see this. Okay, where is it? Okay, this is kind of an example. You can see over here that it's part of the image is actually we print white. So if you were to look at it,
James, why don't you increase the view on that? Just
okay.
so, there we go.
This is this image is a little pixelated. So, and
Mhm.
this is actually not a photograph of an actual product. This is a 3D rendering, just kind of a mock-up of this particular product. So, so when I rendered it, it was a little pixelated. But anyway, if you look at the photo, you see areas of white. But back behind the photo, it's totally transparent. So in order to, and you can see how the wood stand, you can see through the wood stand. And in order to achieve this, we have to print in what we call decal mode, where we're printing white, say, all back behind this part, and then all back behind the black. Actually, probably we wouldn't have to on the black just because the nature of the black ink, but we do it anyway. But what we're doing is we're choosing where we want white to be and where we want it to be transparent. Otherwise, this whole panel would be all white outside of the artwork and the black icons over here. So in order to achieve that, and we're going to post this video on our blog. We actually have a post that describes what I'm going to show you, but we're going to add this video there as well. As a matter of fact, you might be once we finish this, you might be seeing this video there actually. So, but anyway, so in order to make sure that this white area okay, is excluded and only included in here, what we have to do is we have to kind of mask out that white. Now, people that use Photoshop on a regular basis are familiar with masking, or many people using Photoshop are familiar with using different techniques to mask out certain parts of the image, and other parts of the image is transparent. Well, we're going to kind of do that, but we're not going to get as dive as deep into showing you how to mask things in Photoshop. What we're going to work on, or what we're going to use, was Photoshop's layer feature. In order for us to properly do this, when you place an order for something like this, the image has to be prepared a certain way. One, it has to be a TIFF, okay, and there's a reason for that. And two, that TIFF has to have a layer called white. We'll call it white, which basically represents the area of white where we're going to lay down the white ink back behind the image. So that image is not fully transparent, and you can control what part of the image is transparent and what is not. Well, the reason why it has to be TIFF is because of the formats that we accept, the image file formats currently. The only file format that supports layers is a TIFF. A lot of people aren't aware of that, but they're aware that Photoshop uses layers, or you can use layers in Photoshop. And it's not very difficult to do. So even if you're relatively new to Photoshop and have not yet used layers, I'm going to quickly show you how you use the layers in this instance. And it's not difficult. So here we go. So unless any questions you think?
Let's see. So let's say right now they're opening whatever their preferred file format was. Like, let's say it's a PSD, a AI file, whatever. They're going to open that first and convert it to basically a TIFF. Is that the best way to start?
No, you'll just open it up as whatever format it is. You don't have to convert anything just yet.
Okay.
So that's actually at the very end. Okay. And we'll show you that. Now, this process that I'm going to show you, you can also use other image editing programs that utilize layers and can save TIFFs with layers. So, but we're using Photoshop because that's the most popular program out there for.
Many of the buttons are the same. You know, looking at Procreate.
Similar. Yeah,
you have a lot of this. You have layers options on Procreate.
Yeah. So anyway, so here's so we're going to use this example. So this is my artwork. It's kind of a mock-up Spotify style music plaque, which you see frequently on places like Etsy and so forth. So this is a perfect example of what we call printing in decal mode. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to isolate everything that's white. Okay, now there's different ways you can do that in Photoshop. One is you can come over here to the magic wand tool and I can select that. Now, the problem is I'm clicking on white and it may not, you know, it may depend upon what the tolerance level that I have set up for, it may select parts of the image as well. Also, I don't want to have contiguous selected because if actually, I'm sorry, I do want to have contiguous selected. I always get those two mixed up because I don't want it to select parts in her parts in the image that are white here as well. But I'm gonna set this to about 12, and you can kind of, there we go, and you can see everything back behind it is selected. Now, what I'm going to do is all the white is selected. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to in my menu. I don't know if I guess you might not be able to see that. Okay. Actually, I can do this. I come down here and I'm going to select create a new layer. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to invert what I have selected. And you can do that with the in your Photoshop menu, you'll go to up at the top, you'll go to select and then inverse. Okay. And so it inverts what areas get selected. Now I'm going to click on my color palette, set the foreground color, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose white. Now it doesn't have to be white, although we are going to we're going to use white just because that's, you know, our system is going to is not going to look at the color. What it's going to look at is what this layer is titled. And so I'm going to title this. I'm going to double click on where it says layer 1, and I'm going to just call it white. That represents where the white ink is going to be printed. Now I'm going to take my paint bucket tool and I'm going to just fill that in. Okay, now the image looks like it disappeared, and it didn't. Technically it didn't. What you have is you have it covering up the background. Now I'm going to right click on this layer and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'll just leave it background copy, and then I'm going to drag this over on top. Okay, and then this layer I don't need anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So I have my artwork that's going to be on top. You want to keep that on top. And then I want to have my white layer back behind it, and you can kind of see it. Now again, this doesn't have to be white, but it could be black. but it needs to be titled white, because that tells our software, our software knows that it needs to lay down white ink in the same fashion and the same layout that I have here. Okay, so that's that's kind of a quick and easy way of doing it. Now I could have, if let's say if I wanted to hadn't done all that, I wanted to create a shape, like let's say a circle, I could do that. Or if I came over here and I erased parts of this white, okay, then what would happen is this area would be partially translucent. Does that make sense, Melissa?
Yes.
So in other words, it wouldn't be fully opaque, which means fully non-transparent. But I don't want, I want the whole thing to, I don't want that. So I'm going to do that. So now the last part is saving the file. Now to save the file in Photoshop, you're going to go to, up in the top menu, you're going to go File, and you're going to do a, click on Save, and then you'll see an option with different formats. You're going to select the TIFF, and then you're going to save it. And now here's what you want to look at is, these are some options that Photoshop gives you when saving TIFFs. Okay. You're going to image compression, just keep as none. And if this is enabled, make sure that this is not selected, because you don't want to discard the layers. You want to preserve the layers. And so I'm going to click OK. And it says including files will increase the file size. That's fine. And click, and that's done. Okay.
Yeah, now, I don't think it showed us quite the box, the dialog box when you were saving, but
oh, it didn't. Okay. Okay. But did you see that where it showed that disable layer option? Did it show that? Okay, let's try this again. So let me try this. I'm going to do an export instead, or I'll do a save as copy. Okay, TIFF. Okay, do a save a copy. Do you see that? It probably doesn't show that.
No dialog box is popping up. Yeah, right. We just see your workspace.
Okay, so let's do a save a copy instead. So when you do it, you'll see something, and there'll be a checkbox where you can include layers, and make sure that is checked. So I wish I could show it to you, but it is there. And then just save it, and that's it. So now your file is actually, well, if you go back and open your file, that TIFF file, you'll see these layers that we created initially. Matter of fact, I can close it and I'll open it back up, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There we go. See how the layers are still there? Okay, so folks, that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do to format your image. Again, we're going to have other products that are going to be able to take advantage of this. We're on the verge of offering a sticker with a transparent vinyl, which would be cool, because even though we can do contour cut stickers, this will allow you to control what is white and what is not. So maybe you want part of the image, part of your sticker, maybe it's a logo or something, to be white, and back behind it transparent. So yeah, so that's really all I have on this quick tip. It went a little bit longer than I expected. I was hoping to keep it about 10 minutes, but this is our first one. We'll try to keep it shorter. So anything else?
No, I guess this is also pretty much the same thing as our layers stuff that we use with the dye bond when they want to create a textured
It's
ink fill.
very, yeah, it's very similar. I have to go back. I don't remember, but I think we, I think with the dye bond, we call it, you title the layer texture instead.
Yes.
In that case, you're not using all one solid color. What you're doing is you're doing a like a grayscale image with a from black to white, which represents kind of the elevation of the texture. But it's, you know, you're going to save the file in the same format with where you're preserving the layers of a TIFF.
Now, with this new product, is there things that people have to know as far as ICC profile, color match? We're still doing it 300 DPI.
Yeah, just like we always tell people, keep it in an RGB format. You know, a lot of people say, hey, you know, can I submit Pro Photo RGB, Adobe RGB over sRGB? And we say, yeah, you can, although we have run into instances where certain types of printing that we utilize does not support like Pro Photo RGB. All it supports sRGB. And you have to keep in mind that the color gamut in printing is nowhere near the same level of color gamut of an RGB file, not even sRGB. So when you're utilizing Pro Photo RGB, you're going to be able to take advantage of an expanded color gamut, more colors, but it's not, you're not going to see that benefit as much in print, just because even a lower gamut color mode like sRGB or color profile like sRGB, a printer, no printer out there can even match that. So, you know, kind of, yeah. Okay. So anyway, so we'll go ahead and close this for now. You'll get this uploaded, and I'll post this on our blog, and so people can kind of see this live example.
Yeah, great. And any questions, you can add them to our post, or you can send them to customercare@finerworks.com, and we'll be glad to assist you. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.